Hi, I'm Steve Howard. So you got that video all trimmed up and split just like you like it. It looks perfect. It's exactly what you were hoping for. But now you're thinking, gee, titles and maybe a little bit of music would really help set that thing apart, but you don't know how to do it. Well, using OpenShot, that free editor we use to show you how to split and trim your videos, we're going to show you how to do just that tonight. So you're in luck. Stick around. Let's go to the computer and get started. Well, first we're going to tackle titles to show you how easy it is to create a simple title for your video. Now, I'm assuming you've got your video clip or clips all lined up here in the video track. If you bring them down there, make sure you leave at least one up above it. We're going to need that for our title. Which one you pick is immaterial. You can be 3 and we'll have it above, and we'll have the ones below that, 1 and 2, for our music that we'll get to in a moment here. But for titles, that's all we're talking about now. So once you have your clip or clips, plural, in your timeline, just go up to your media bin and in title up above here in the top, and just click title, and up will pop a little window which gives you all sorts of little templates you can use for your title. They're different, and you can preview them here in the window. Okay, bar 3, it's going to look like that in the bottom, and you put that up. You can look official like Hollywood, and you can put fire on the bottom, and you can change all of these aspects, the colors, the words, everything. For this one, let's go down and pick one called Sunset. Now in this little box over here, you have the file name. Let's give it a file name that we'll know what we're talking about. Let's call it our test title. Really creative here, I know. And where it says line 1, that's the word that goes in there. Let's just say, I'll make something up completely unrelated, but you'll see what I mean. That just goes right there. System is a little slow this morning because I'm screen recording at the same time it's putting all this together. You can change the font right here. If you got a special font you want for your title, you can put that in there. You can change the color of your text, and you can change the background color here. We'll leave it at black right now because that'll be transparent and let the video below it show through. So you'll see the title coming out on top of your video, which is starting to play, which we'll show you in a minute. Then we're going to save this test title. And yeah, it's already there. That's fine. I've done this so many times. And then you can close that. It'll go when it saves. Then take your test title. It shows up here in the media bin. Click and then drag it and just drop it in this track above your video. This is crucial. It's got to be above, because as you can see, this black lets the video below show through. So whatever's below the video will show through. Now we'll play this and it'll just like starts right into it, and it may not be what you want. In fact, it's unlikely it is. So let's change this so it just slowly fades in and then fades out. And you can do this 2 ways. One is right click, click fade, and you say the entire clip, fade in and out, fast or slow. We'll do a fast one here, just see what it is. We'll see these little green little tick marks added at the bottom here. We'll talk about those later. These are keyframes. That's what it creates to know how to create the animation. We'll play it through. You see it comes up, and in a little while it'll it'll fade out, just like so. And there you go. You now have a title that fades in and fades out. You can change the length of the title by highlighting on the right side and pulling it in or dragging it out. Make it as long or as short as you want. And we can play it once again just to see, since we're a little longer. It fades up. And in a little while, we'll start a fade out. And that's all there is to titles. Now you can do that same procedure with just about any of those titles that showed up in that little title menu that pops up here. Change the words, change the colors, save it to your own name, and your titles are good to go. And then you can do the same thing at the end. You can put ending credits, whatever you want, or you can put it in the middle just as called a title. But let's say you want to put somebody's name over a scene you've got, you can use that same title. For example, here, this is an idea. Let's go look at a title. And this one here, they call bar 3, which puts a little wording at the bottom. So you could use that and put, this is little Bobby's name or Jean's or one of your kids or grandkids' names, and it'll show up just the same as we just did. And you can use that even in the middle of your video. There's titles. That's as simple as it is. So now we'll move on to showing you music. Well, now let's go and add some music to our video. Music adds a lot of good atmosphere to any video you have. And it's a pretty easy improvement to make. But the first thing you have to do is make sure you've got your music that you want to use loaded into your media bin. And to do that, if you haven't done it already, is you just go up to this little plus sign here, and we add it just like we added movie clips. Choose your audio or music, bring them down into here so you're ready to use them. Once they're in your bin, all you have to do is pick out the one you want to use, click on it, drag it down to one of the tracks below your video clips. That allows it to play in the background or on top, but below your video will keep it easy to keep straight. Anyway, once it's there, you've really done it. As you notice here, we'll give it a play here. Maybe it doesn't really fit and it's a little loud, but I'll show you what in a minute. Now, video clips can be like this one. This is a converted 8mm movie where there is no sound, so you probably want the music to be up high like that. This next one, as we'll get into, is at the Mall of America, and it's just ambient crowd sounds, which there's a soundtrack, but maybe not necessarily what you want. And you'll notice if we put the music and the background all at the same time, it really sounds terrible. Here, give it a listen. There we have the background and the music. And finally, we'll go over the third kind of track where you have somebody where their speech is the most important and the music should be lowered, and we'll show you that. Now, in fact, here, let me get a sample. See, with the music, with a music like that, you can hardly hear the lady speaking there. So what are we going to do with that? Well, first of all, the first one is simple. We can leave that just as it is. This is one problem with OpenShot. I found a lot of times you got to click and drag a few times. It has trouble sticking. So that's why you see me going back and forth like this. Anyway, if you have no audio with your soundtrack, which is most likely only going to happen if you've got some old movies that you're converting like this one, and you can leave it there, and it'll be fun. That cutting out you hear, that's because it's busy rendering in the background as I'm screen recording. When you finish out or write out you're finished, it'll be all smoother like that. Now here's the next kind of problem you'll run into, where you have a video clip with noise, but not necessarily you want to listen to. As a reminder, here it is. And all you have to do to fix that is we right click on our little video clip that we don't want to listen to, and we go to volume, and let's go to the entire clip, and we can go down to 0 where it will mute it. In other words, we won't have any sound, or we'll leave a little ambiance in there. Let's try 20%. And then when we play this, see the music's up there. It's still a little bit high. Let's go back. You can keep playing with it through the entire clip. We're going to set it, let's go down to 10% and see what happens here. That's a little better. You can see how you can kind of hear, you still hear the crowd, but the music is really the predominant sound you're listening to. Or if you just really dislike having all that noise, and that's really all it is, you go down to 0, and it's basically, well, not basic, it is. It's muted. As you listen now, all we'll hear will be the music. And all the sound is muted. And if you want to change it up, you just change your mind. You can go back to volume, and you can reset it. And now it's just as if you didn't do anything at all. It's all right there. Back to chaos. And there you go. Now the problem you run into, let me back. This is going to be an optional part. Keep in mind that with the right click and volume trick, you can set entire clips up, down, certain percentages or whatever, but that's all you can do. You can't come in, do it at a certain level for a little while, and then go up and down again. It's the whole clip or nothing. However, this is the optional part. It's a little advanced, so you can just go on or stop watching if you're not interested in it. But we'll show you how you can still do that by this last clip where we've got music and we've got a speaker, but we want to show how you can lower the volume a little bit, not completely out. We're going to take the music, we're going to lower it for most of her speech, and then when she gets done here, we're going to raise it back up again, and we'll show you how that's done. But again, this is optional. Tune away if you're not really interested in that. So what we're going to do here is we're going to position this playhead right about where you want to start lowering your soundtrack at. Click to highlight your soundtrack and make sure properties are done. You can do it by hitting Control-I or right-clicking on your music track and go properties down here, and this window on the left will be open. Don't be intimidated by it. Just ignore it. I'll show you what we have to do. Okay, once we have our audio, or I'm sorry, our cursor where we want to be, this is what we're calling the cursor here. Then we'll go over here and we're going to set what's called a keyframe. Now, keyframes are simply little markers that tell the editor where you want to start or stop a particular action. In other words, do you want to, in our case, lower the sound or raise the sound, do whatever you want. You can do the same thing with video. Keyframes are what's used when you see them do flipping titles and spinning objects and your opening, that sort of thing. Those are all done with keyframes. It just simply tells the editor where you want to start something and where you want to end something, and it interprets how to create all of the steps in between. That's kind of a neat concept. So here we're going to go to the start. We're going to go over here to volume. We're going to right click on it, and then we're going to say insert a keyframe. And then it's at level 1, which is 100% right now, which is what we want. You notice it put this tiny little green spot there. That's a keyframe. Then we just move this further to where we want this volume drop to be at the level we want. In this case, we'll just pick a little bit. We'll go back here, right click again. We're going to insert another keyframe, and we're going to left click and then just drag this over to about the level we want. So let's say it's that. So what's going to happen, this video is going to, let me go back here. It's going to be scooting along here at 100%. It's going to hit this keyframe and suddenly drop down to about, I think we had it about 20%. And it'll continue that way. Then we can continue on out and go to the very end of the video. Actually, it's longer than it should be, so I'm going to just clip off what's the end. I'm going to bring this back. That's about the end of where she would be speaking there. And then I'm going to right click on this again. I'm going to insert another keyframe. There it is. And then I'm going to go a little further. This is sort of a starting marker, if you will. And then say, by this point, I want you to be back at 100%. So I'm going to insert another keyframe again. But by this keyframe, I want you to be at 100%. There you go. So this will go down. It'll play at 100%. It'll drop. It'll play at the 20% the whole time. And when it hits this, it'll start rising it again until we hit this spot. And then when we're done with that, I'll show you a sample and I'll come back and show you how to cut off this excessive extra long audio we have here. But for right now, let's go back and I'll get right before her little speech here. And we're going to play this. Now, listen for the volume to drop as it gets into her speech here.
Now, I will warn you now. I will give you plenty of warning before the dog jumps. You'll know what is happening.
There you go. You see what that does. And then go all the way over here to the end. And somewhere along here, play, the volume should start rising again.
Water back and forth 17 times. Now that is
see how it hit that spot and then came back up again. That's how you can make changes in levels within a clip without making it change for the entire clip. Unfortunately, that's the only way. Now, to get rid of the excess is the same as we do with video, but I'll show you two ways. One, we can put the highlight or the cursor right where we want to cut it. Get that little square there, go right click, and we're going to say slice. And this time I want to keep the left side to the left of that little cursor. So we'll say keep that, and it throws the rest away. Now, the other way you can do that is simply left mouse click on the end of the bar, the end of your video or a soundtrack rather, and you can see the two arrows. Holding the left mouse, just slide it over to where you want it to end and release, and you've just done the same thing. Once again, I'll show you this sound. This is be at the low level going to a high level. Incidentally, this is out in Wisconsin Dells, which for some reason they have a dog jumping over two rocks. That's a tourist attraction. It's still low, and here it comes. It's going to start raising up again. And how slow or fast this change happens is determined by the distance between these two keyframes. So if you want this to happen more slowly, just make these keyframes further apart. And if you want it more quickly, just put them closer together. And if you don't like what's there, you created it, and you say, oh my gosh, I don't know, it's too fast or it's too slow. We can go back here and we can right click on it and we say remove keyframe. Or we can, I believe, we can reset all the volume and the keyframes all disappear. So that's another way to do it. Now, if we go down here to the end, you'll see it's constantly at the loud level. Because all our keyframes are gone. So just to recap, it's really easy. All of these things you can, we showed you how to put a title on, which is a big change. It's nice. So you don't have to go through a whole video and say, oh, this is not the one I wanted. You got a little bit of a title on it. And those same titles can be used. You can make different types of titles, as we showed you, and use them for captions over different scenes, different locations, different people, anything you want to label. They're really handy for that. Music is, again, a simple thing in the basic form. Choose your music piece, drag it down to the bottom, and bang, you've got music through your whole track. And then if you want to raise or lower individual clips, you can right click on them, choose the level, and they're good to go. Then here's the advanced part. And if you want to play with levels up and down or different things throughout various portions of your clip, you then have to play with the keyframes. So any questions, just comment below. I'm kind of experimenting with this on Facebook, see if we get anybody to care about it. But that's all there is. And you're using it on OpenShot, and it's free. And we can then do some other things with it. I'll be coming up and show you how you can use the same tool and do slideshows. And then just by upgrading, spending a little bit of money, how you can get a lot easier to do some of this with a commercial program. Not that much money, but yet it makes a lot of these same things much easier to do and even adds a lot of other features. So let me know what you think. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you next time.